Excellent. Thank you so much for your time today. It's wonderful to speak with you again.
Yes, when was the last time? Was it for No Control or the documentary? I can't remember.
No Controllers, about 2 years ago we sat down in Melbourne, and damn, we miss you here in Australia.
Oh, don't even go there. Don't, if I start to think about that, I'll put a bullet in my brain. No, I really hope to get back there soon. We're looking at it all the time. Everybody's anxious to get back on the road.
Absolutely. And of course, fans all over the world got a hell of a shock hearing that you'd contracted the coronavirus and became ill. Thank heavens you're okay.
I did, and the funniest part is, during the ups and downs of the lockdowns, well, I managed to get to Hamburg 3 times to visit my husband, and one time to do one show in Denmark, which was a socially distanced, half the people from that. And then, so I managed that 4 times. Then I came home, and I got corona in my own home.
Unbelievable.
It's crazy. We traced it back to, I had one dinner with the family before the lockdown started again, which was totally allowed. Everybody did it. Everybody went to restaurants, pubs, at each other's houses, and then lockdown. So I had, just my daughter and her husband and the little 12-year-old grandson, and that's it. And the 12-year-old grandson must have had it and not known it, showing no symptoms. And he'd already given it to my daughter. Then she gave it to me anyway, and so it just like a set of dominoes. But I'm fine now, and I've had my first injection.
Oh, thank heavens for that. And there's been no lasting ill effects?
Pardon me?
There's been no lasting ill effects?
No, not really. I had a little bit of reaction to the injection, but no biggie. Just, a very sore arm and a little bit of headache. And the first day afterwards, I was very tired, as if I had COVID again, and now I'm fine. A little bit of loss to taste. It gives you the same kind of symptoms, but not serious.
Oh, thankfully you recovered. And, of course, we had no doubt that the Queen of Rock and Roll would kick COVID in the bum, so well done.
Well, when you have spent 57 years doing nothing but exercising your lungs, that respiratory virus is going to have a very hard time getting a hold of me.
Oh, absolutely. Indeed. Beautifully put. Suzi, the devil in me. Oh, my God. I had unreasonably high expectations after No Control, but you still managed to blow those lofty expectations out of the stratosphere. Congratulations on such a brilliant work.
Thank you. And I am so proud because everybody's been saying that. We had a benchmark. No Control was a great album. And my son said to me, I want to make this even better. And we've done that. And everybody that worked on No Control and has worked on this one has said the same thing. We didn't think you could do that. Same as what you just said, but oh my God, you did it. Because we had a vision. Mainly my son. He said, this has to be as good as the first album and as groundbreaking. And that's kind of how we approached it. That we got our feet wet with No Control. We hadn't worked together before. Made a great album. It was exciting. What are you doing? Where are you going? What's this song? Da-da-da. And then we had our blueprint, if you like.
Absolutely. Of course, you started with Richard on No Control just as a series of demos, and it led to such a great album. You've expressed how you approached it from an agreement, if you will, point of view. Was that sort of the limit of how you approached it? You just had a theory in mind and got to work?
No, I don't know. It's, like I said, we had that great critical success of No Control to go by. Richard should have been busy last year. I had 100 gigs in the book. Everything got canceled. So I just said to him, let's write the album. And of course, you're in that lockdown situation. You're totally immersed in the music. And we just started. And all these great tracks started to come. Richard's a riff guy, and he would play me certain riffs, and I would think of what that would go with. And I mean, something like, you've got like The Devil in Me. The title track was just, well, I'll tell you that one. I had that title about maybe 6 months ago. We were talking. And he said, oh my God, Mom, that's a great title for the next album. I said, that is. So I started to write some lyrics. And then I just kept them on the side. And every time I sat to write, I tried to put some music to these lyrics. Nothing ever seemed to fit. This is so crazy. So finally, we're on the last needed track of the album. And my son said, Mom, I have one more riff to show you. See what you think. We need one more track. I said, okay. So he showed me this riff. And I said, that's real unusual. I quite like it. Send it to me on the email. I'll go into my computer and I'll get my bass and my songbook and I'll see what I can do. So I'm looking through my songbook, listening to the track, trying to find a line, a title, a lyric that just screams, this is this song. And as I was looking for something to jump out at me, the lyric for The Devil in Me fell out of my songbook and landed on the desk.
Oh, my goodness.
I tell you what, it's a lot of what my mother used to say to me, and I just wonder, did she sort of rip that out? I know it sounds crazy, but that's exactly what happened. And there it was in front of me, and I went, okay, here we go. And I know. It's like you don't argue with your mother. And I started to sing the lyrics, and they just fit the song. So there was the song, the last track we wrote, and the first single. And it's something my mother always said to me when I was a girl. She'd say, you're an angel, Susan, until your halo slips and it becomes a noose.
Oh my goodness, absolute perfection. And of course, with tracks like Get Out of Jail and Isolation Blues, I mean, can I call this album the child of lockdown? It's no secret, of course, that that's where it all started. Was there a certain agreement you had between you and Richard, a determination to turn such horrible circumstances into something special?
That's actually my mantra, if you like. And I have always had that mindset that whenever something bad happens, you turn it into something positive. And a good way to do that is to write a song around it or write a poem around it, but you turn it into something good. You make it constructive. And that's what I did. So I've done that my whole life, So Get Out of Jail. I mean, Richard had that riff in that title. And he's so funny. This is just before lockdown started. So we were thinking about tracks for the new album. And he said, I got this riff here. And he said, I got this idea. It's kind of crazy. I said, yeah. He said, what if you were in jail and you couldn't get out? You needed to go out to do one more gig. And I said, I like that. I like that scenario. And then lockdown happened.
Wow. It's perfection.
I'm working on the song and I went, yeah. Give me one more gig before Instead of having to imagine the scenario, it happened,
Oh, incredible stuff. You can't write things like that. That's just brilliant. You have said that this is, I think you said, the best album of your career, or words to that effect. Could I ask you to qualify that a little further, Suzi? What elements of this really stand out to you as being the best?
Well, I've done what I've done already. So I have Suzi Quatro in my DNA. I've created for many years using all that I have. I've now gone to the age of 70, 57 years in the business. I've lived a lot of life. I've kept my voice. I've kept my energy. I've kept my image enhanced by life's experiences. So on this album, you're hearing Rock and Roll Suzi saying, never die. Don't give up. And that's what you're hearing, the life in my voice. It's so strange. Voices are supposed to go down as you get older. And I've never sung better. And don't ask me why. Where's some wood? Here's some wood. Touch wood. I don't want to jinx it. It's kind of like I haven't stuck to a formula. I'm not like Suzi Quatro of the 70s, because that's not who I am. Although I'm still that girl. She's still here. And I was able to I'm comfortable in my skin. That's why it's the best one. I'm not afraid to do things as diverse as The Devil in Me and then My Heart and Soul.
Oh, absolutely. Goodness me. And it is such a diverse album. And there's just so much, there's literally something for everybody. But I remember saying, I'll tell you. But the last track, Motor City Riders, it's just everything Suzi Quatro. It's such a brilliant finale.
I absolutely love that song. I had that idea for the riff, and I came outside, and my son started to play it. I'm not a guitar player. I was playing it on guitar, so he took the electric, and then the riff came to life because I'm a bass player. Anyway, I'm singing where I sang the first few lines, and he said, "This is about Detroit." I said, "Yes, it is." And then I went in and I worked on those lyrics, not to force them, but because this song is so important to me. It's an anthem to my hometown. And I wanted to get every syllable correct. What it was like to grow up in Detroit and still have that in your heart and soul. Unshakable survivors, I got it. Taking everything. Well, it's the Motor City.
Absolutely, hands down. It's just brilliant. And as I say, to complete the album, but I couldn't help but go back to the 1973 release, the debut, and have a listen to that. It's Can the Can, as you know, here in Australia was its release title, but it would have fit anywhere in there just so beautifully as well. It is you. It's incredible.
It is. And it could fit in there easily without me being retro.
Indeed. Yes, indeed.
And in fact, my friend Andy Scott from Sweden, who I make QSP with, we talk all the time, and I sent him the album, and he had much the same thoughts about you all the way along, and he said to me, "Motor City Riders is you at your Suzi Quatro rock and roll best." That's the way you put it.
Brilliantly said. And of course, the one downfall with this track, if I could call it that with the greatest of respect, is that I can't hear it tomorrow live. I mean, the thought of hearing this live is just giving me goosebumps. You must be missing performing live so much.
Are you kidding me? After 57 years, this is what I've done for 57 years. To not have a schedule in my hand and a rolling bag and a stage pass and my suitcase with my stuff in it and my bass around my shoulder. I don't know who I am. It's awful. But luckily for me, I have to say, I do this out of choice. I don't do this out of need. I don't need the money. I'm fine, for the rest of my life. But I love it. I love it. I just, it's like cutting my arms off. So luckily I've kept very creative, because if I didn't have my creativity, I would be going crazy. So, I wrote and released my fourth book through my words, which is my lyric book. I'm working on my fifth book now. I'm writing for the next album because all the creativity is still here. So this is what keeps me sane. If I can't work, then at least I can communicate, create, and entertain. I do a lot of social media. I had Suzi Quatro's bass lines, 50 of them, teaching people how to play. I had Suzi Quatro Sunday specials, playing the piano and my songs stripped back. And I do daily posts, Instagram that said, so I'm keeping out there and I'm keeping people uplifted.
Oh, absolutely. And I'll take this opportunity. I was going to leave it till the end of our chat, but thank you. Thank you so much for this album, because it takes all of COVID, all of the issues, all of the problems in your life, and just washes them away. It's such a gift while we can't see you perform live.
I know, but we'll be there. We'll be there as soon as we can. Don't you worry. I'm there.
Wonderful. Look, I've got to ask you about the lyrics, because much like No Control, the lyrics are very, very special indeed. And you've obviously reached deep within yourself to make sure that every single song carries the message that you intend. But from your perspective, a track like My Heart and Soul, Need You Home for Christmas, what's that to you?
Oh boy. And that's a timeless song, by the way. You can play that in June, because you're not saying how far ahead Christmas is. You're just saying, I need you home. That was a real moment. We're busy writing. Once we knew we were going to be home, we said, let's write the album. And I sent Richard to the studio, COVID friendly, and I sat on the patio. And then when we needed to go in together, we both put the mask on. It was okay mixing one person with one person. I was sitting out on the patio about 2.5 months down the line after my husband and I didn't see each other. So missing him. Anyway, I'm working on songs. I'm old fashioned. I don't want to work with machines. I work with my acoustic guitar, my acoustic bass, my iPad, and my lyric book. That's how I work. And my son was in the studio playing with tracks. So he left the door open and this track came out. For an instant, I was annoyed because I was working on something. And then it was as if somebody shot me in the heart. I just went back like that. I went, what?
Oh, my goodness.
As a songwriter, I knew don't think. Don't think. So I just left it here, put my mask on, cut my brain off. I didn't put any thoughts at all. I just walked out to the studio like a zombie, you know. And I walked in, he said, what? And I said, what is that? He said, I'm just fooling around. I said, you can see it now in my face. I said, give me the headphones, put the mic on, play the track. He played the track, and I sang that melody and the first 4 lines without thinking about anything. So it was obviously about missing my husband, and you can't stop me trying to get to you. And we turned to look at each other, and we both went, what? What? And then it just came in and finished it. But it's amazing how that, and so much so, just to finish that story, when we finally put the proper recordings down, you know, and then everything's on, the horns, you know, you redid the bass, you redid and now I'm finally ready to put my vocal, the finishing touch on the great track. I'm singing away, and when you're singing a vocal, you're basically naked because you're in that space, just letting it out. So I naked, just singing, you know, vulnerable is the word I'm looking for. And right in the middle of the vocal, Richard stopped. He said to the engineer, stop the take. I said, what's the matter? I thought I was being great. And he said, Mom, you're not doing it. And I said, what do you mean? He said, I don't know. He said, can we go back to the demo? I said, sure. So we played the demo in my headphones, and I went, whoa. Whatever happened that day, without me thinking. So obviously now what's happened is I'm in the studio as Suzi Quatro putting down a vocal. So I listened to that and I went, got it. I erased everything again. I let the track, I put the track way up, and I just went back into that same feeling, and it's beautiful.
Wow.
Yeah, it's amazing because I used a voice on that when I went out to the studio that day. I used a voice I've never used before. I didn't think about it. All I thought was, this is what's coming on this track, you know? And boy, I got a good voice that way. It's really good.
Absolutely, my goodness. I realise you're limited and pressed for time, Suzi, and I can't thank you enough for having a chat today. But if I could ask you one very important aspect about this entire collection, arguably the most remarkable element is how you have drawn so many styles over so many decades, from blues to Motown, classic rock, and of course your own, where you started all of this, your own style and your own sound, and turn them into such a brilliant, monumentally brilliant musical collection. Does that skill to so effortlessly, or apparently effortlessly and masterfully, infuse a track with such rich musical heritage? I mean, does that come from experience, or is it more that yourself and Richard, with No Control, have lit a spark of creativity, and now it's just taking on its own journey?
It has. I mean, I've always been creative, but I have to give my son the credit where the credit is due. He somehow managed to relight my fire. And the funny thing is I didn't know it needed to be relit. He's just, I don't know. Mom, I know what you should do. I'm doing this for you. Here's what you have to do. And he's sort of really, I'm seeing me through his eyes. There you go.
That's incredible.
It's a great partnership, and we're both flying, you know. I'm just flying, and I'm writing out for the next one, you know. So while this is here, and it has released a scourge of creativity in me that I am not going to stop till it's finished.
Oh, wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Of course, any single track off this album, on its own, is worth buying the entire collection for. We can't wait to see you performing live in Australia again. But until that day, again, thank you so much. Thank you to Richard and to all the creative crew for this sensational album to celebrate. Keep our chins up and dreams alive until we see you in person again.
So the devil gay driver's still got the devil in me, okay? All right.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Suzi. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.